So this is a news story just the other day. Fatal crash
What an odd headline.
Fatal crash in police chase doesn't count, Kansas says, because it was on purpose.
That is a bizarre headline. But
well, clearly it's by someone who is annoyed it doesn't count. So
no, I know.
I appreciate that.
I know, like it doesn't. Yeah. I'm sorry.
When Bonner Springs police officer, I hope that's a place and not a guy. When Bonner Springs police officer began chasing a man in June 2021 for an expired license plate, a car chase. Does anyone else hear themselves? It's insanity to have a car chase over an expired license plate, but they do it anyway. Expired license plate. Speeds on the interstate escalated to 100 miles an hour. Then the officer intentionally hit the car they were chasing to bring the chase to an end, a maneuver called a tactical vehicle intervention, or TVI.
Aren't those great euphemisms?
I know. Slamming your car into another car. The driver, Daryl Vincent of Kansas City, Kansas, was ejected and killed. So this cop killed this person with their car. In an odd loophole, Vincent's death is not counted in statewide or federal statistics on police chases because the officer purposely struck his car. If he had accidentally struck the car and he had died, then it would have been counted.
So only unintentional deaths count.
That official, does that go for guns too? If you accidentally...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't... I mean, wouldn't you just as a cop be like, yeah, I totally meant to do that. And then pretty soon we'd have like 0 people killed by cops every year.
I don't think it actually is with guns. It's not like if it's intentional with a gun, it's not a killing.
But then that's a weird loophole. Why does the tool matter? If you hit him with a shovel, does that count?
Shovel counts, rake does not. So they carry rakes with
What about a tripod? What about a Christmas tree?
If you slugged him with a Christmas tree?
Like one of those hard plastic ones?
I mean, that raises so many questions. That officials choose not to include injuries or death caused by deliberate actions by police is one example of how police chases are not reliably counted by state or federal authorities.
Well,
so
she makes it sound like it's any deliberate action.
She did make that sound kind of weird, but obviously a deliberate shooting does count as a police murder. Except, as I've reported before, and that recent story just backs it up, is that police killed a record number in 2023. They killed 1,329 people last year, representing a nearly 19% increase. And that's, I thought body cams were going to stop all this police killing and everything, right? But the larger point here is that number is not even accurate. Because as the Lancet Medical Journal did an extensive study and found that more than half of police killings in the USA are unreported, and Black Americans are most likely to experience fatal police violence.
Unreported by who?
They don't get reported as police killings. They just get reported as like asphyxiation or heart attack. More than 55% of deaths. More than 55% of deaths from police violence in the USA, 1980 to 2018, were misclassified or unreported in official vital statistics reports, according to a new study by the Lancet, which is probably the most highly respected medical journal in the world. The highest rate of deaths from police violence occurred for Black Americans, who were estimated to be 3.5 times more likely to experience fatal police violence than white Americans. The other thing, I've pointed this out before too. Most of the time when you read about it, a white person who's killed by cops was waving a gun. A Black person killed by cops, often unarmed, often reaching for their wallet. So there's a big difference. Yes, more white people are killed by cops because there's more white people in the country. But if you actually look at the stories, Black people are killed just for being a Black person. White people are killed for waving guns at cops.
Black people make up about 14%. It was 14% several years ago. I don't know if it still is.
It's 13, 14, yeah.
But it's like, so if you, and this goes similarly with Indigenous, although that's not counted nearly as well, if at all. Death of Indigenous, well, just Indigenous peoples at the hands of police or federal agents, because federal agents go onto reservations. It's like, that is astronomical if you consider the percentage of Indigenous people. So it's like, you have to take all of this into account. It's, again, like the context of a statistic. Oh my God, I said it. Is just as is more important than the stat itself. I'm not going to try to do it twice.
How about railroad workers?
Do you know what? I heard somebody, I don't remember what I was listening to, but somebody else tripped up on that one. Somebody else did it. So I'm not alone. Solidarity with the people who can't say that word.
Solidarity with the whales out there for doing all that road work.
Where you say it.
Railroad workers. I already said it once.
Show off.
Anyway, point being that we've heard a lot that, not a lot, but at least you hear a little, that cops killed like a record number last year, like 1,300 people. But that's half of them. That's half. Most of them get written off as like when a cop chokes someone to death, which is a lot of the killings.
Apparently ejects them from a vehicle.
Or ejects them from a vehicle on purpose. That is not the cop killing them.
Also, I just like to say that the body cam footage is a total loophole in any attempt at police accountability, because as we've seen with multiple cases, particularly if it has to do with a Black person, an activist, the body cam footage has to be released by the police department. A judge oftentimes has to okay the release of it. So it's not like you can,
they just turn it off.
Well, that too, but even if the body cam footage exists,
yeah,
it is oftentimes not accessible even to the people who are like in the case. Like, I'm not talking publicly. I'm talking the people who are affected by that situation can't access, like their lawyers and what have you can't access it.
Just recently, I covered it on the show. Just recently, we got body cam footage from Chauvin, the guy that killed George Floyd, of both the George Floyd moment, but also his previous times where he had killed or nearly killed someone. And it took that long. It's been years.
And this is why you should always film the police. As of right now, there is no law in any state that makes it illegal to film the police. So you do it because their body cam footage might as well just be off.
Although they are trying to pass that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're trying to pass all types of shit.